What's up, everyone? Long time no see. I know I don't have a regular upload schedule, but wanted to share something kind of cool today. This isn't a stock building video, but it's kind of an overview. So this is my Springfield Armory Scout Squad. Few things different on it. So started out life as a regular Scout. I'll go ahead and go front to back. I might do reviews on some of the other stuff done to it individually. There's one in particular that I'm sure most of you have pointed out, if not two. But so starting at the front end, I've got a Smith Enterprise Vortex flash hider. It's a direct replacement for the M14 standard front sight and flash hider combination. Now they do make a sight that replaces your gas ring, your gas cylinder lock ring here, and I do have that, but there's a reason it's not on there. So internally, it's got a sadlak titanium nitrated piston. You can't see it. It does have a National Match guide rod, which there's some myths about the guide rod that it helps with accuracy. Honestly, it doesn't. The bullet's long gone before the action ever starts leaving the barrel. What it does is it helps smooth things up. It can help with reliability. Honestly, for me, it was more or less just a feel thing. I have them in all my rifles, and I'm not as worried about it prematurely wearing out springs or other parts. Less friction means, you know, better wear patterns. This is a 30-round magazine, which for the M14, m1a is a pretty new thing. Now, there have been 30-round magazines around, but they've always sucked. This one's shaped a little different. Now, this one is different from what they come like, and I'll get to that. Sadlak extended magazine release. Didn't think this is something I would like, honestly. When I added it, I didn't think it was something I would like as much as I do. I have come to love it. Internally, it has a Smith Enterprise rework trigger with GI internal parts. This thing is fantastic. You know, really good trigger feel. Not super light, still the same two-stage trigger pull, but far more consistent. And I don't have a trigger gauge or anything, but this is something that, you know, if you don't know how to do a trigger job, and I didn't at the time, and honestly, I still don't like messing with it too much outside of a little bit of polishing. The rework on this is fantastic. If you ever send your rifles out to have any work done, have a trigger job done. Standard GI fiberglass stock. I reworked it similarly to my other videos, but you know, all I did was remove sorry, just had a bee land on me. But anyway, so I removed the checkering from it and gave it kind of just a grippier, smooth texture. Painted it, and you know, otherwise the sling is a. I have to think about who this is. This is a different sling. I'm really a fan of it. I'll try to post a link in the description to who I got it from if I can find the paperwork. It's been a couple years since I got it. Flipping it over, it has a sadlak bolt release. Let me tell you what, ergonomically, this is the best upgrade you can make to an M14. Just the rifle itself, ergonomics, this right here, it gives it an AR style bolt release. Now let me remove the magazine because the magazines aren't designed necessarily with the bolt release in mind. You know, you can operate this just like an AR-15 with an empty magazine, but anyway, like you can see, that gives one hell of a really good ergonomic feel. And just like an AR-15, once you insert your mags, it you know, does a really good job closing the bolt. Doesn't get in the way or anything. Now, if you do have a standard scope mount, that can also that can get in the way of a few things. Let me move. These bees are really pissing me off. Apparently they like the red of the tractor. So I'll go to the gray of the brush hog. Anyway, sorry about that. So back to it. The other thing that I know everyone's going to comment on is this scope mount. This is a new product from Cogburnarsenal. Now, and people in the M14 community have known about this in a while, it seems. They've been around for a few years. The company itself mostly makes stripper clip guides for rifles like the Ruger Mini 14, rifles like that. They're mostly known for that. This is their first scope mount, to my knowledge. And at the time of posting this, I don't know of any videos on it. I haven't had it very long. It's a primary arm scope. This is designed to work with the primary arms prism scope, as well as your Trijicon A cogs. Now, this is the 3-power scope. They actually have a very helpful guide on their website that will show you what works, as far as fitment, what will fit, what won't fit, what needs the spacers. These scopes come with all kinds of different spacers, so there's no need to worry over over eye relief or anything like that. And this one doesn't. This has no spacers. It just has it's just screwed in directly to the mount. The mount replaces, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. The mount directly replaces the rear sight. Now, there is a shim that comes with it. I didn't need that. This mount also works with M1 Garand. So those of you who want to shoot an M1 Garand, but your eyes just aren't good enough for the old iron sights, and you don't have an M1D, this is a really, really good option. And if you're left-handed and you can't use an M1D because the scope hangs off to the side, this is a really, really solid option to where you can use those old rifles. It's very low profile. This is easily the lightest scope mount combo available for this gun with any magnification. You could put a red dot on these rifles and have it be a bit lighter, but it is, I'm in love with this. The clarity of the optics really good. I mean, Primary Arms has a good write-up on all of the prism style scopes. Let's see if I can get a view through there, if it'll focus. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it to focus. Now, anyway, it's got your standard ACSS reticle. The reason I removed the front sight is I don't have a rear sight. I don't need it anymore. And honestly, the clean lines of this rifle are, I love that. It is really, really fantastic. The handling is great. I had a scope on this prior to this. It was a Leupold FX2 6-power, fixed 6-power scope, kind of old school. Actually, it was a custom shop scope with a German post reticle, so very similar to your SVD or not your Dragunovs, your old Mosin Nagant snipers, your old Mauser snipers, just kind of old school and fixed 6-power, very rugged. I love that scope. I have it on another rifle right now, actually, and it was sitting in a Bassett scope mount, which also highly recommend. I might do a video on that. But pretty lightweight combo. That scope with that mount was like a pound even. And as you that are into this rifle know, a good aluminum mount and a good lightweight scope. I mean, a pound isn't a whole big ask for these. I mean, that's a pretty lightweight scope combo. I've got a Trijicon scope with a sadlak mount on my other m1a, and I mean it's at least a half pound heavier. I mean it is a heavy combo. I've never weighed it off the rifle because the sadlak mounts are 3-point design. It would involve a lot of re-zeroing, but there's data out there. You can find out the weight of everything. This, with the scope and the mount, I think it weighs like 8 ounces. Now the 5-power prisms add some weight. I wanted to go with that, but they recommended the 3X the most. I've had good luck with 3-power scopes in the past. I tend to like lower magnification fixed optics. It's just kind of a preference for me. But I mean, this is, to my knowledge, like I said, this is one of the first videos with this being shown. The mounting of it was super easy. If you can take off your rear sight for your m1a, you can install this. They literally send you a paper with a picture of the mount pointing at the individual screws and showing the torque specs. I mean, that's really all there is to it. You do mount the optic to the mount before you install it. The screws go up through the bottom. So, obviously there's no way to access that. You gotta, you're gonna want to use some thread locker, properly torque your screws down. Now the torque specs for the scope, I imagine in the Primary Arms manual. I just went off of typical torque specs. I've got a torque screwdriver that does a really good job. But I've been really happy with this rifle. The whole point when I got it was to kind of have something modern that could compete with a lot of the AR market. I mean, this lengthwise, I wish I'd have brought it out here for comparison. Lengthwise, this thing is shorter than an old school carry handle, like an M16A1 clone. So it's shorter than a 20-inch AR. Weight wise, I mean, empty, this rifle's right around the weight of one of your heavier ARs. I mean, it's standard weight. I would call it service weight. I wouldn't call it lightweight. Service weight, you know, being that typical what military rifles end up weighing. I mean, this thing weighs right around what an M1 Garand does, or right around what a 1903 Springfield, or an M16A2. You know, they all got heavier with time. Even the M4s now, you know, like, yeah, by itself, M4, lightweight rifle. But you know, they've added foregrips, they've added lasers, night vision, all that stuff. It adds weight. Traditionally, military rifles have always gotten around, you know, right around the 10 to 12 pound mark. This is well under the 12 pound mark. It might be close to that with the 30 round magazines. Let me go back over and get that. All right, I'm back. So these magazines, you'll notice one looks a little different. These are csspec magazine. It's CSSPEC. Now, they cost around, at the time of this filming, right around $55. So they're not a cheap magazine. They're not going to be as cheap as your Checkmates or those garbage mags you can get at gun shows. And they're definitely not going to be as cheap as the 30 round magazines that you see at gun shows that just look like a longer 20 round magazine. But let me tell you, these things feed, fit, and function so damn well. Let me pull this one up. Now this one looks a little different because as you can see, I have painted from here down. This is actually appliance epoxy, just, you know, Rust-Oleum appliance epoxy. I just wanted to give it something a little bit more protective. Now these are stainless steel magazine with a industrial grade melaniting. So it's not a pretty melaniting. It's not what you see on your rifle barrels that go out for commercial use. This is more industrial grade, you know, just kind of a matte black. But I mean, really, really good finish. And so the curve of the magazine is intentional. It curves like, you know, like your standard 308 magazines. It follows the profile. It's got reinforcing ribs. It has, you know, it has a good follower in it. It's kind of anti-tilt, you know, it'll bend, it'll nose down at the front, but honestly, I mean, it's not, I would call it anti-tilt. It's not going to be like your Magpuls where you can press on the very front, it won't have any issues, but loading it, feeding it, accuracy isn't affected negatively. This is a really good magazine. And if you're one of those people who, you know, who spends money on magazines, this is a really good option. It really does bring this thing to life. You know, fit in the rifle. Really hard to do one-handed. There we are. Sorry, had to pause it. It's kind of hard to do one-handed. Fit in the rifle, nice and snug. Doesn't wiggle around excessively. As far as how they fed, I mean, I've fired probably for the most part, I'm using one magazine, you know, just every single time just to see what the longevity of it is. I've had no issues, no misfeeds, no failures, no nosediving rounds. They haven't jumped out a bunch of rounds. The 30 round stick mags you see at gun shows, just avoid those. I had one once, and honestly, I legitimately smashed it with the butt of this rifle at the range. I couldn't get more than 2 rounds in before it would have a failure to feed. And something I do with just about all my rifle magazines is I'll actually take a pencil or whatever I have on hand, even a round of ammunition, and I'll put a tally mark on the magazine. Once I hit 5 failures with that magazine that can be traced back to it, a failure to feed or whatever, I get rid of that magazine. None of these have them. I have 3 of these magazines. This pouch is actually a Canadian, it's a Canadian pouch for the light machine gun m1a rifle that they used. I got it on eBay. That's about the best pouch I found for these. There's not a whole, unfortunately, when it comes to 308s, there's not a whole lot of options for 30 round magazine pouches, but they, you know, that one does a pretty good job. I have shot this rifle in some, you know, low level competition, nothing super competitive. I'm not a competitive shooter. I'm more out for a good time. So this is really more or less just something that I wanted to have to enjoy. And this rifle has done fantastically. It's been very accurate. I'm usually getting, now with this scope, this is brand new. I have zeroed it in. I haven't shot it for groups or anything yet. I haven't done long-term testing. I'll give updates if it's something people want. Like I said, I don't have a I don't have a normal upload schedule. I know that's kind of a pain in the ass. There's a few. I'm actually surprised to see there are a couple people that subscribe and will get notifications about this likely. That's kind of cool to me. This is just kind of a spreading information thing. But yeah, you know, I can do other videos. I might try to do a more regular upload schedule, but that's not, you know, not something necessarily for this video. And I don't have to do just guns. You know, if there's something, you know, as you guys saw, I've got, you know, an old Ford Jubilee. I went through and did the restoration on it. You know, that's, I can, you know, I could do a video on just about any product that people have a question about. But as far as this rifle goes, like I said, every part on it, I have spent years developing it. Sorry about that. I had to move inside. These bees are going nuts today. I figured by November they'd all be gone. Anyway, I've spent years working on this project, just m1as in general. I've had the FAL, fantastic rifle, but you know, I had m1as and I standardized to that. It's really just been preference. I don't have any hate for the FAL like a lot of M14 owners do. I also don't have a, you know, I also understand where the FAL guys come in, hating on the m1a, or you know, the M14, sorry. But anyway, I've spent a long time working on this project, and really, I think this has been a good culmination of it. You know, you could go further with modernizing it. You could go with the pistol grip stock. You could go with, you know, a lot of different options. But as far as just weight, firepower, balance, everything, this thing has it. I mean, it does a great job. As you saw from my previous videos, you know, as far as modifying the stocks for these things, you have a lot of options. You could, you know, and I've done it, you could lop off this back end here and attach, you know, you can actually legitimately attach the stock adapter for a Remington 870. Give yourself a pistol grip with a collapsible stock. You could do that. You could, you know, attach rails to it. They make, you know, 4 ends for these things that add rails. So if you do want to run a, you know, if you do want to run night vision or something in front of a scope, you could do that. Now these do work with, you know, with night vision, you know, binoculars, you know, the ones that go on a helmet. I don't have that. I don't have thousands and thousands to spend on a, you know, being able to shoot in the dark. But like I said, just wanted to kind of share. It's been a while since I've posted anything, and before people comment, yep, I do run steel case ammunition. It hasn't given me a problem. Accuracy wise, it's been fine. These rifles are controlled round feed, so I'm not worried about my extractor. And if I can shoot enough ammo to wear out that barrel, I'm just going to put a different barrel. And I'll do a video on the other rifle I've got. It's got a Hart barrel, 5R rifling. That thing is fantastic. I'll do a video on that one if there's interest in it. But yeah, so just wanted to give a quick, you know, quick intro to it. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I've been testing these things for a number of years. I kind of got out of the gun game for a while. I used to sell guns. I just got burnt out on it. I've been away from it for a minute. I finally got back into it, saw that this scope mount was now a thing, and I've been in love with it ever since. So you know, like I said, hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. I'll try to get to it. You know, I'm not a content creator by any means or by the typical definition. I'm just a guy with a cell phone. So yeah, you know, let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, let me know. I will try to, like I said, I will try to give some updates if anything happens. You know, if that scope mount shakes loose or something. I don't think it's going to happen. Seems very well machined. Again, that's cogburnarsenal, COGBURN arsenal.com. They have a lot of really cool products. Smith Enterprise, got to give them a shout out for, like I said, for making a really cool flash hider. It does a great job. I have shot it at night, and it does a fantastic job. of keeping flash down. csspec magazines. They make magazines for more than just this. They do a lot of magazines for Veprs, for rim fires. I haven't tested anything but this, but they have some really nice magazines. And, you know, if you're willing to spend magazine money, you know, and unfortunately in this day, you know, $50 for a magazine isn't a bad deal, considering that, you know, you're spending $60 for a SIG magazine or for any of your handgun magazines. You know, you're spending $30, $40 for those. And this holds 30 rounds of .308. You know, the sling, I'll try to find that one. I think that one's Buffalo something. Maybe there's a tag on it somewhere. Made in USA. Yeah, that's good. Oh, wait. Here we go. Oh, hogsaddle. There we go. Yep. Hogsaddle. This has been a really nice sling. I've really liked it. Very comfortable. Oh, and that's, you know, that's my call to go make a bottle and wrap this up. But have a great day, and thanks for watching.